Good evening, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basic Politics Unfiltered. Happy Friday. Tonight, the Vinny Spano love text. Let's go over some of the text messages from Vinny Spano tonight. Let's connect some more dots. Ready? Are you ready? Good evening, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Happy day before Christmas Eve. Happy Friday. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve. Who's excited? I know my kids are. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to getting some rest. But I wanted to go over some stuff, a lot of things today before I take a break for the holidays and, rest it up. I hope that you guys get some rest. Been crazy, right? It's been crazy for me. I need a rest. I need some time off. I mean, I'm under attack. First, folks, I want to just talk about, we mentioned city cars, right? And city vehicles and the take-home cars that individuals get here in the city of Yonkers. And, how much does that cost taxpayers, right? And, we've said maybe they should give them back. It's a part-time job. They already get a lot of perks and benefits and stuff. And do they need it? They do a lot of the meetings, or have done a lot of meetings during Zooms. Now they have been coming to City Hall. But, are they abusing these cars? Many people have seen them on the weekends, at night. Nader Sage and others have said that Mike Breen takes his car, city vehicle, all the way down to the Jersey Shore. Some have accused Corazon Pineda Isaac of crossing the bridge with her city vehicle, as she doesn't live in Yonkers, some have said. And I've recently got an email from an anonymous source with a video showing Tom Meyer in his city vehicle one weekend enjoying some Carvel ice cream with his grandson. And now the vehicle had a fire department plates, so it would seem to be assigned to the fire department. And so is that okay for him to have that car on the weekend and drive it and, it's assigned to the fire department? Now, I do want to say this. I want to make this very clear. Recently, there's been a video of, people following me, stalking me. Rue Rose appears to be having people following me now and, trying to get videos of me. But what they're doing is they're creating a situation that, to me, is dangerous, scary. I don't know who these people are. And, I want to make the point that this video that I have here was sent to me a while back. It was sent to me a while back. And I never played it, right? Out of respect. And I want to make it very clear that I didn't take this video. I don't know who the sender is. I genuinely don't know. And I didn't put it up, because I said, okay, let me just, but it seems that people have no boundaries and they don't really care. And, they have no respect for family, for wives and all that. And so I'll put the video up now because it is relevant as it's a city vehicle. More taxpayer money because, again, we pay for that. We pay for that gas. We pay for that vehicle. We pay for the insurance. And if they do go, over the tolls, we pay for that as well. How much gas is, Tom Meyer using? The person who sent me the video accuses him of going to Connecticut, where they say he actually lives. And he's often up there with his city vehicle. And so that's why I mention it now, because it's important. Are you allowed to take your city vehicle to Connecticut, drive it on the weekends, and pick up Carvel? I don't know. Shaq made it. Tom Meyer there. Hanging out with his grandson. They're just getting their money, right? How much money do you think he's saving there and he's costing the taxpayer? Now, if that was car payments, it'd probably be about $600 a month. How much would be, how much would be spent on gas? I don't know. I've put over $100 now to fill up my car and it's not an SUV. So I would imagine maybe, let's say $400 a month. So about $1,000 a month just on gas and the car payment and then insurance. It could be about $1,200 a month there that the city taxpayers are footing the bill for. Won't you love to have a car, free gas, free insurance, especially at this, point in, recently when the gas prices were through the roof? Wouldn't you have loved to have had a free car, free gas, free insurance so you can save that money, put it in your pocket, put it in your savings, or go, on a vacation or something? That would be nice. That would be real nice. Tom Myers also the chairman of the Democratic Committee and has been for quite some time. Now, I want to go over these text messages from Vinny Spano. There's a lot, and I haven't put all of them just yet. And I want to use them to connect the dots to some political corruption, to what's going on here in the city of Yonkers, and show also the fact that these individuals just are like, it's sneaky, man. That you can't even, they don't, how do you trust each other? How do you guys hang out, right? How do you guys hang out? Very recently, I spoke about Lieutenant Nasser. I mentioned him yesterday in a podcast. Lieutenant Nasser was the driver of Mike Spano. I hear he drove Mike Spano for the last 5 years while he was on the job, Yonkers Police Lieutenant. And in that time, sources have told me he made over, and I believe I actually added up, over $1.3 million in 5 years. $1.3 million of taxpayer money driving the mayor around. His brother, John Nasser, was also, once employed. Well, actually, he's now employed again, but he was employed back in 2016 with the city when he got arrested for armed robbery, and he was convicted, went to jail, and I believe he was recently released, and he was then rehired by the city. And the reason why I mentioned this is because it's kind of come back around. I mean, the way the universe has been working recently has been very crazy. And I got a text message with regards to with Vinny Spano in regards to pay to play or paying for jobs in DPW. And Lieutenant Nasser's brother was an individual that was mentioned as someone who was offering a job at DPW for $8,000. Now, I have heard of this. I have heard people paying for jobs. I have heard of $10,000 to $20,000 for a job. Very recently, I put an audio clip of a DPW, or actually it was a Parks Department employee, I believe, who was suspended for 60 days without pay because he was caught in an audio telling someone how to get a job with the city. You have to contribute to campaigns. You can knock on doors, but if you want to move up quicker and get your name up there, you should contribute. Bring a check in your name. Bring a check in your girlfriend's name. Bring a check in your mom's name, your dad's name. Just bring checks. That's your references. And then when you apply, they'll look at your name. Boom, this guy's been contributing. He's a monster contributor. Give him a job. And just last year, many individuals got jobs because they were supporting campaigns, contributing, and being muscle, it appears, because the individual that I'm speaking about now, the brother of Lieutenant Nasser, was seen at the term limit meeting standing by the door. A tactic I hear is used to intimidate people. They want to, deter people from coming in or, being loud and, voicing their opinions and stuff, right? So they stand there by the door, and you can see it in my video. You see these big guys by the door as I entered the city council chambers. And so, is Lieutenant Nasser's brother selling jobs? Why did he get a job again? Why was he rehired after committing an armed robbery, spending, I believe it was 5 years in prison, becoming a felon, and then being rehired? And then you got other individuals that want jobs that have been applying and applying and applying and no callback. And they're so desperate that they're willing to pay thousands of dollars. Yet and still, individuals with criminal backgrounds, armed robbery, violent criminal backgrounds, can get a job like nothing. They can get fired and rehired, right? And, there's an issue also with the firemen, with that John D'Onofrio. the individual that was caught in Atlantic City, the Yonkers fireman who's since been fired, he had a criminal past, and yet he was hired because of his connections. And I believe that individual is also connected to the attorney of the landlord over at my daycare center, who has been giving me a problem now, and their attorney has since, been very rude and, and problematic. And I'm wondering now, because we were in court, and I was like, wait a minute, D'Onofrio? Makes sense, because we just surprised my wife and I, like, why all of a sudden the landlady doesn't want to talk to us? The landlord, I mean, the lawyer's very, nasty. Even my attorney, like, this guy's just a pain in the ass. He's a nasty guy, He was rude to my wife. And then when I saw that his last name was D'Onofrio, I said, interesting. All right. So it's a lot of connections. And I wanted to talk about that because our jobs being sold, and it's not okay. It's not okay. How many people can produce $8,000 to $10,000, $20,000 to get a job? Because they're not going to call you if you do it the right way. From what sources are telling me, there are a certain amount of DPW jobs, and half of that, the Teamsters or the union get to select pick the positions or the people for the positions, and the other half go to the mayor, so he can use them as political favors, rewards for people who, are supporters. Doesn't matter if you have a criminal background. Doesn't matter if you robbed A&V Pizza. Doesn't matter if you have been caught with 100 grams of cocaine. Your charge will go away. And that's another issue I have here, because Mr. Yonkers' voice of Ruros was impersonating a police officer, harassing women on the job, a Beeline bus driver pretending to be a police officer, flashing a Yonkers police plaque, not only to her, but to the security guard over down at Beeline on Sawmill. And so where did that case go? Was he charged with impersonating a police officer? What was the result? I don't know. But what I do know is that the last note on the police report says that it was Lieutenant Nasser was notified. The same Lieutenant Nasser that I'm talking about here. And apparently he's a real good friend of the Spanos, because, Vinny Spano, he texted me to tell me not to mention him if I can do him the favor and not mention him. Yes, he made good money, but so is the guy that's in that position now. Okay. He's going to make $1.3 million in 5 years. Let's take a look. Bro, one favor, and I don't ask you for anything. Although that's not true. He's asked me to talk about people. He's asked me to mention things about people. And I said, what's that? Cal, that's Khalid Nasser, Lieutenant Khalid Nasser. Please let that go. He's one of our best friends. He was head of the Special Investigations Unit, lieutenant. He made good money, no doubt, but so does the person that is in that spot now. They mentioned his wife being sick, and he has small kids, and and again, I'm not, I pray and say my prayer and stuff for the wife, and I don't wish anything bad on anyone, anything like that, nothing. I know it is to have a wife, and So, but he said he's a really solid, good dude. And I'm sure he is. No one's saying he's a bad guy. No one's wishing bad on him, but I'm just making the point. These are things that are important to be mentioned and to be talked about. It's important. If jobs are being sold, we must know about this. People have complained here in the city of Yonkers that it's difficult getting a job, and you have to know somebody. You have to be connected. And in fact, I believe that's the reason why the amount of people applying for city jobs has dropped. The city council will have you believe that it's because the cost of the test is $100 or was $100. They've recently cut the price in half, but will that increase the number of applicants? It's not about the $100. If people are willing to pay thousands of dollars for a job, what's $100? The issue is that they're not going to get the job. And they know that if they spend $100, they're wasting that $100. They don't want to waste $100. Right? And then he called me because everyone paints you as my best friend. I'm Vinny Spano's best friend, or I was. Not so much anymore. Nader's going hard. he wants to make sure his numbers are big. And then so in this text, we're talking about, and so I would engage him in things. I would engage him in certain things, see what he would say about him, about it, and see what his thoughts were. And he's talking about the Nader Sage race. He goes, that's going to be a close race. I say Nader 52-48. I can find out. My friend swears he can find out, but honestly, I don't care enough about it. No, one day it will come out. He or she will. And he's talking about a fake page. We were discussing the Let's Get Political page, and guess Let's Get Political, if you're watching or you watch, that he's talking about you guys, that page, right? He's talking about you guys. He works for us in constituent services, but we took him out as ward leader, but my brother allowed him to keep working for the city, but he don't like me. And so now he's talking about an individual, I believe, I forgot his name actually. But anyway, he's talking about an individual here, and he's saying that, he's trying to figure out who's this page. Let's Get Political. And he mentions a guy, and he asked me if I knew this guy, and I said no. And I go, who is he? And he goes, he works for us in constituent services, but we took him out as a ward leader, but my brother allowed him to keep his job. So what does that mean? My brother allowed him to keep his job. He's referring to the mayor of the city of Yonkers, Mike Spano. My brother allowed him to keep his job, right? Why? Because he, opposed them politically. And that's what happens here in the city of Yonkers. And that's why so many people are scared to speak out. They don't want to lose their jobs. People on the inside are reaching out to me anonymously, and they haven't. Actually, I got an email today, just a little bit ago, from someone on the inside. And they say that, you're going to need people on the inside to help you. And I appreciate that. They say you can't get everything on the internet. So I appreciate that stuff. Shout out to you, because people on the inside are tired of this too. They're tired of it. It's been a long 12 years, And so, if you speak about or against the administration, the current administration, you will get retaliated on. And that's why people have warned me and said, be careful. And your wife, she works for the schools and stuff, but she does an amazing job. And everyone has said that. So, to fire her would be a blatant, retaliation. And then we have other information, things that, we got there. So, I would hate for, that to happen, but we definitely are prepared in the event. And we've thought about this, right? But we cannot allow that to dictate how we, whether or not we're going to do the right thing, right? And while my wife is not involved politically, she just does her thing at her job, and she does a great job. I'm involved because I, believe in what's, in some of the things that, that need to be changed. I strongly believe in them, and I believe that it's the right thing, and that's who I am. And so that's why I speak on it. And she should not be, concerned about her job because of it, especially if she does an amazing job. Right. And I seen it when we went back to the school to see our kids' performances at the old school she used to work at. I mean, staff and students alike coming up to her and saying, hello, hey, we miss you, And so that's great to see. And that's great for her to hear. She loves that, because she knows that, people appreciate what she does, and that gives her the motivation to continue. But, she shouldn't have to fear losing her job. And she absolutely supports me in what I do. She doesn't get involved, but she supports me as long as I'm doing the right thing. Right. And, Rue Rose from the Yonkers Voice, I have you believe that, she initiated divorce proceedings, and that, I'm forcing her to support me. And that's not true, because, when was it? It was like maybe a month ago or whatever. There was something that had happened, and I went, I think it was with CPS stuff. And I said, hey, do you, want me to stop? I will absolutely stop, because at the end of the day, my family and my wife are the most important thing. And she said no. She said no, especially now, right? She, she's a strong woman. She's a very strong woman. She came to New York, from a, place that was very much different, and she's, really done very well, and that takes a strong person. So, I just want to shout out my baby girl, and Vinny Spano, I'm in Lauderdale now, and I'm leaving for Naples tomorrow. This is another thing that we've, have mentioned before. People have mentioned to me before about the time that they are actually working, right? They have these jobs where they're making, $160,000, $170,000, but how much work are they really doing? He's the Yonkers City clerk. He has 2 other deputies. I mean, they have 3 city clerks. Michael Ramadelli is one of them, and I forget the other one's name. But, oftentimes you'll see Michael Ramadelli, in the meetings. Vinny loves to go to Florida a lot. And so, I mean, this is what I'm saying when we look at, when we talk about, how do we find ways to cut back on spending, and how do we, get our, our economy and the city back on its feet in terms of its finances, and being able to, fund much needed projects, particularly with schools and renovating and building new schools. Well, you have to look at things like this, right? If you're going to Florida all the time, I mean, why should you be making $160,000, $70,000? Why? Well, maybe, you keep your job, but you're going to make, 80,000. That's crazy. And they've given themselves raises. And today, I saw in the news, the New York Post, and I was hearing about this, and I mentioned this actually in a podcast, a couple podcasts ago. The state officials voted to give themselves a raise. Happy holidays, right? It's their Christmas gift. Imagine that. Imagine we can just all vote to give ourselves raises. And I, obviously as a business owner, I can determine if I want to pay myself more, but I can't also at the same time, because I have to determine, I have to factor in, well, I have expenses. Can I really afford to do that, right? But, to them, it doesn't matter. It's not their money. It's not their expense at all. It's our expense. We are footing that bill. We pay their salaries, taxpayers. And so they voted on a $32,000 increase because of the cost of living. It's going up. Yeah, well, it's going up for everybody. And everyone doesn't have that luxury. So you're going to take our money. How about you say we're going to vote to give you back that money rather than put more money in your pocket? Some of them have, businesses, successful businesses, along with being an elected official. Nader Sage, state assemblyman. He's got a full-time law practice. He's got real estate. In fact, he's got his 10 Palisade property on the market now. He's asking about $6 million for it. It's very high, but he knows that AMS is going to be developing Chicken Island, which is right there. So he figures, hey, you're going to need that. And so does this guy need a raise? Does he need more of our tax money? It's disgusting. It really is, especially when, he's probably going to see at least 3 to 4, maybe 5 homeless people on his way into his office if he's ever there. And it's just outrageous. So Vinny Spano and the city council voted on raises for themselves during the pandemic, when people were being laid off, when businesses were shutting down. They were voting on raises for themselves. The nerve of these people. And yet the city cries broke all the time, and they blame the state. It's the state. It's the state. It's the state. And this one here, I mean, you just did that a few days ago. I don't know if anyone from your fam that was being considered. All right, so going back to Lieutenant Nasser and the selling of jobs. They set up a family member of mine. Again, I do have family members that work for the city. Erwin Vasquez being one of them, his wife, a couple cousins. And now these are second, cousins. Although I do know some, do know them. Erwin, I never had a real relationship with him. Never had a bad one, just never had a relationship, right? But I knew of him. And so Erwin is Vinny Spano's best friend. And people have joked, people on the inside, people within his circle have joked and called him Erwin Spano. And so his wife was upset about it. And she said, oh, that's not an insult. I said, well, you should tell that to the people that you're hanging around with, because that's where I got it from. Remember, I was coming around to these events before I decided to do this basement politics thing and start exposing. I was invited initially. I went to the Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, the election night, celebration, Zupta events, and others. Tasha Diaz over at Pelham. I did. I went. And so, I saw my cousin once or twice there. And Anyway, another cousin of mine who has been applying for jobs at DPW with no success, all of a sudden had an offer from Lieutenant Nasser's brother, allegedly for $8,000. And he was ready to take the offer. Unfortunately, when he wanted to meet up and, see what, this was going to go on, they said, no, wait a minute. You're Freddie Vasquez's cousin. Freddie Vasquez, your cousin. Never mind. But that was a setup because he had been applying. Erwin Vasquez, Vinny Spano's best friends, knows that he's been looking for a job with DPW, and he did nothing for him. Although, his wife says he tried to help. Did nothing. Hooked up other family members. And again, I'm not saying that that's okay. I'm just saying, why would you make him pay $8,000 if you were able to help out other family members? It's because it wasn't a real offer. This is what they do. But I think they wanted to just, and I could be wrong. It could have been a real offer. But they wanted to toy with him so they can get upset with me. $8,000. Oh, no, you're Freddie Vasquez's cousin. Never mind. And so I asked Vinny about it. I said, yo, what's up with this? And he goes, you just did that a few days ago. He goes, I don't know if anyone from your fam that was being considered. It would have come from Erwin, I would think. Now, is he throwing you under the bus, Erwin? Okay, then he gets back to me. Okay, from what? We got, it's that your family doesn't want to ask anymore because of you, and they feel like it wouldn't be right to ask when you're going after the mayor. Now, that's BS because I wasn't even speaking about the mayor at this point. In fact, I even mentioned that to him, that people, and some of the people who were saying this would agree, were saying that I wasn't going after the Spanos and that I needed to go after the Spanos. People, in fact, some were upset with me. Some people said, I don't know if we could really trust this guy because he doesn't mention the Spanos. And I did that because I wanted to keep this relationship with Vinny. So that's BS. I wasn't going after the Spanos. And he's lying about that. My family was asking. No one was asking. He didn't even know any of these people to be asking. So he tried to make it seem like, like it's your fault. They don't want to ask anymore because of you, because you're going after the mayor. He goes, that's what I was told. Of course, I come to Florida and the effing hurricane coming in tomorrow. Again, in Florida. But even if, let's say they weren't, my family, whatever, and they were asking, would you have given them the job then? Is that what you're saying? Is that how it works? People come and ask for jobs? They don't apply for them? They don't take tests? I don't know. I can't look like a sucker, brother. Bro, I can get you all access. You see this? Bro, I can get you all access. Problem is that I go to bat for you and then you go on the podcast about his handlers say, see, you're being played, LOL. I go to bat for you. And you see below here, they deaded me on the city job because they said you my family and you was talking shit about them. And so that's the text I got. I didn't play that one. I didn't show that one on, but that's the one I just it's within the text I sent to Vinny Spano. So, and I'm talking about, Rurose getting a press pass to the state thing when Biden came. He said that the state handled that. I don't know. Do they know Rurose? I don't know. So he goes, no doubt. So Vinny Spano would watch my podcast. He would definitely watch my podcast. Sometimes he watched live. In my opinion, based on just, knowing when he would watch live, and knowing who was on live, I came to the conclusion that he was using the fake account by the name of Jake Espinoza. I believe that was Vinny Spano. That account was Jake Espinoza. And he goes, "What time you're going on? It's rainy here." He's talking about Florida. "I'll listen. You going on now? Okay, I'm on." See this? That was great till the end. "You should have told him to suck your dick." Pardon my language. And he's referring to Anthony DiMaggio. Boy, did he not like Anthony DiMaggio. He goes, "You're going to get some hate text now, no doubt, bro. I know he was trying to be nice, so nice publicly. Watch." "Okay, let's talk when you get back. I won't mention it, okay? Thank you. I was a little upset they did not." Oh, and this is going back to that Lieutenant Nasser thing. I go, "Okay, I won't mention it, right?" So I'm trying to be nice. Then I told him I was a little upset that they denied me from going to Roosevelt to talk to kids after being asked by a teacher. He go, "But that's the BOE, no? The Board of Education, no?" I go, "Yeah, I guess." I put, "Yeah." He goes, "We don't control the Board of Education, brother. Dr. Q runs a tight ship over there. Even when we need something, it's like pulling teeth." So, I've learned to, over time, I got I came to the conclusion, I should say, that he wanted me to speak negatively of Quesada, and I never did. I never did, because I never, thought anything negative of Quesada, not because he's ultimately my wife's boss, but even when my wife didn't work for the BOE, I didn't think that. In fact, I've, know many people, young people, that have had Dr. Quesada as their principal and have said great things about him. And I understand how the system here in the city of Yonkers works. And very recently, someone came up to me saying, "Hey, man, I had this idea, doing something with the schools, but Dr. Quesada wouldn't let us do it. He deaded it. The mayor was okay about it, but not Dr. Quesada." I said, "I highly doubt that. If the mayor was good, then Quesada is going to be good." So I said, they want you to think that Dr. Quesada is the problem, because they want to get rid of Dr. Quesada, in my opinion. In my opinion, they wanted to put Nader Sage in there. Nader Sage wanted to be mayor, but that's not going to happen. But let's give Nader Sage a good position so we can get his voting block or his voter base to support us, the Spanos, so we can surely win that election that's going to be so difficult, to get through the people without them noticing. So that's the game plan, I think. And you've seen the articles on the Yonkers Tribune, negative articles about Dr. Quesada. But again, ultimately, who controls the city of Yonkers? Remember, the budgets were combined, and so everything goes through the mayor. And so I was denied because they had spoken to the school about that already. They are even trying to stifle my, feed the need, and where I work with the kids and they make the sandwiches, and they limit it now to once a month that they come out there with me. All I ask is that, and it's not even, look, they can actually come whenever they want. After school is really when they come anyways. Then at that point, they're, no longer really, the school doesn't have any control over them. But they're still trying that, and that's cool. I'm not gonna, go against the school or have the kids do anything that they shouldn't. I don't want that problem. I'll take the once a month, and the reason is that I want them, and they enjoy it. We go out there and they learn on how to give back, on how to help others, be selfless, and it's a positive and great experience. Yet they don't want you to do anything good. They don't care about what's right. They just care about themselves, and that's unfortunate. That's why we've been, missing out. We've been losing. You can be losing. He calls me because everyone paints you as my best friend. Insane. It is insane, isn't it? It's insane. Then he's talking about Mike Cater, and one of the biggest, threats to them is Mike Cater. Mike Cater's lawsuit, the TOD, low proposal, and what's been going on there, and the fact that it's been mentioned in the Mike Cater lawsuit. And so he tries to convince me that Mike Cater isn't going to have a chance to win. He goes, "I should show you our recent poll, Cater not even on the radar." I said, "Show." I would talk about that, but I don't have that information. He goes, no, I can't. Costs way too much money to do the release to Gen Pop, general population software thing, where they get, this data. They're going to find out the hard way. I don't know. I don't know if that's very real. But again, Mike Cater is not even being put on any of these polls. So, of course, it's going to seem that way. Right? And so now going back to my guy, Anthony DiMaggio. Remember that night you went to Fogarty's or whatever that's called after the boxing thing? Tough man competition between the Yonkers Police Department and the Yonkers Fire Department. Anthony DiMaggio, former Yonkers Police Lieutenant, went on to Fogarty's. Actually, he went to Fogarty's. I don't know how to say it. I may be saying it wrong. And Anthony Spano, Tony Spano, was there, the brother of obviously Mayor Spano and Vinny Spano. And supposedly something happened. Vinny texted me about it. He said he was standing there and Ant came up to him and Tony said, "What's up?" Not knowing who he was, Ant said, "You're a Spano." He said, "Yeah, Ant." Ant said, "I'm going to deliver a message to your brother by knocking you out." My brother Tony went to grab him at the point, and all the cops around got in the middle and pushed Ant out the door. That's a good thing for Ant. Well, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know how true that is. That's completely different from what Anthony DiMaggio told me. But, in my experience, Vinny doesn't tell the truth. He lies at times, or many times. So I would imagine he's lying here. I would, be more likely to believe Anthony. Yo, I only saw a bit in pieces last night. Just watched it now. What's he call my brother Tony? A big what? I can't make out what it says, but I want to send it to my brother and break his nuts. Okay. He said, your brother Tony looks like the big guys. I think it was a video game and maybe even a movie in which The Rock starred. And I meant to say, I said, it might not be a bad, I was using the talk text, might not be a bad thing because it was The Rock that was in the movie and the women find him sexy. So I was joking with him, but I think Anthony said he looked like Duke Nukem or something like that, So I asked Vinny, though, to come on the show. And, he goes, bro, I can't come on. It's stupid of me to stoop to his level because, again, we're talking about Anthony DiMaggio here. And Anthony DiMaggio, was a topic that he would bring up a lot. And he didn't like him. And I guess what Anthony DiMaggio is speaking about, it's exposing them the same way I am. But he's exposing the inner workings of the alternative hierarchy, chain of command. The chain of command that although Anthony was a lieutenant, he was not a part of, and a sergeant, and a man by the name of Sergeant Venturino was, and that created the problem that Anthony has today. So he really does not want Anthony speaking about it at all because that presents a threat to their, continuation of dominance here in the city of Yonkers. And the pick is funny. So that was the thing. He was very concerned with him. Then he goes, Tim Hodges is Charlie Coler's brother-in-law. Charlie's married to Tim's sister. I tried to watch, but that was painful. Legit, I couldn't do it. So much bullshit is starting with the CLSA being an appointed position. The guy just lies. It's elected by the member of the CLSA. Interesting. Speaking of, how was the podcast yesterday? See, that was the one he would ask me the most about, the Anthony DiMaggio podcast. So I told him tonight I will be discussing Tough Man and his visit to Fogarty or whatever. Let's see what lies he tells now. Reminds me of when he got beat up at Duos by his entire precinct back in the day. LOL. 3rd precinct Christmas party. I said, really? Is that true, Ant? So apparently he was drunk calling people out in Fogarty's, causing trouble, trying to fight. It's as well as Koch. Trying to fight as well as Koch. He was apparently trying to fight my brother Tony as well. He just so happens to be not only a boxer, but a black belt. He picked the wrong brother, but the other cops just stepped in and threw him out of the bar. This is what people are telling me. I didn't talk to my brother, right? So that's a lie, right? Obviously he's lying, right? Because he didn't want to say that's what my brother told me, right? You would talk to everybody but your brother, right? You would talk to, he goes, that's what people are telling me. I didn't talk to my brother. To me, that means that you're lying, you know? You just want to tell a lie, but you don't want to put that lie on your brother. Right? That's what I got from that. He's lucky Tony didn't clean the floor with him. My man should give up drinking. They are in the minority. You have to understand that certain people, certain part of the department, mostly retired, were part of this anti-Keith and John movement. That's the only support he gets. So I go to him. I said, hey, Vinny, but there are cops that are supporting Anthony. You know, I've seen it. I've seen, stuff that Anthony has shown me that shows that police officers do support what Anthony is saying and doing. In fact, I see more support for him than not. And I think people are really tired, Vinny. People are tired, bro. Again, he says you have to understand that a certain part of the department, mostly retired, were part of this anti-Keith and John movement. That's the only support he gets. I gotcha. Yo, yeah, man, I was in Newburgh at 6:30 a.m. My little guy has hockey. For anyone that's saying that this is, I made these text message up that they're fake because that's what they're going to try to say. It's not true. He even told me about John Cater's truck parked on Central Avenue with signs all over it, parked in the handicap. John, that's why I put that picture up, John. I got to be fair, got to be unbiased. Then, again, as I mentioned, Erwin, your wife asked me, why would Vinny want to use my podcast or use me? He wanted to use it. People are watching. People were talking, or people are talking. And so this is another more proof that he was wanting to use my podcast for his own advantage. You should put a post up, something like, I'm hearing certain people know who Let's Get Political is, or something like that to spook him. You hear that, Let's Get Political? Maybe the retired police are the only ones not afraid to speak out. Retribution. You're right. You're right. But it's not just retired police, Joan. Trust me, I've seen, proof that it's not just retired police officers that support Anthony DiMaggio. Shout out to the Yonkers Police Department. Right? I always want to make sure I shout you guys out because, again, I support you. We need the police, man. I have no issues with police. And I don't want to generalize. So he go, I don't know Alberto. So I asked him about Alberto Velasquez, the CSEA president. Oh, what's his beef with you? Funny you should say that because I did a comment on a post and said, you're on a road, Joe. I don't remember what I said, what that was about. But he was really concerned with Let's Get Political. He wanted to know who they were. He wanted to find out who was putting all that information on the mayor. And they were getting stuff that, I wasn't putting out, deep stuff from back in the day. Getting a lot of attention. He would sell a lot of dreams. That was what Vinny Spano was good at, telling you things, trying to string you along. This is what people need to understand, that I wasn't trying to have issues with anybody. But he was stringing me along like he strings a lot of people along and just uses people for whatever his, goals are. That's what they do. Just like they've used our council members for their goals, killing housing ordinance, passing legislation to extend term limits, things of that nature. So then he, told me about this idea of, helping kids or getting families to do a Thanksgiving thing and even a Christmas gift donation thing, but he never followed through. He was saying, let's do it real small because he would be using his own limited funds to try and help just a few people. If you want to do something together, let's do it. Amen. And back to Anthony. Hey, I just got a minute to listen to Anthony, at least the part where he speaks about me. Just so you know, none of what he said took place. Zero. He never said anything like that to me at all. Zero. I almost texted him, but figured what the F for. LOL. Let me make it clear as day, though. None of what that was said at all. And I'm not sure what he's actually talking about. I forget. Then we go to Z. Yeah, no doubt. Same with Z. He would never tell John. Think about it. He made peace with Mike and didn't tell John. So he was trying to get me to believe, and listen, it could be very real, right? I don't know. But he was trying to get me to believe that Mike Cater has made peace with Zahi Jerris and that they were working together. He even said that they had a meeting, but John didn't know. They were doing this behind John Cater's back. So here, I want to go to my business now. Why we got to this point? Why I'm, showing people these text messages because of the nasty, disgusting thing that was done to my family. So Vinny Spano reaches out to me. He goes, "You should do a grand opening again at your place." I never did one. Mayor will come. This is what he says. The mayor will come. He can speak to education and the need to have more funding for students for this program. Invite Shelly too, Shelly Mayer. Let's do it. I'm ready to do it today. So let me know when we could do that now, and that we have the, to C of O. Now that we have the C of O, it would be perfect. Just let me know. I'm ready. I'll tell my wife now. Don't let me get her excited for nothing. Right? And he put LOL. Nah, bro, I'll make that happen. I'll speak to him later today, and let's be one up with a date. I don't know what that meant. Then he goes, I spoke to my bro. He's happy to come. This is October 21st. He's happy to come to the opening and speak. So Monday, let's hammer down a date. I said, cool, let's do it. 22nd, Saturday. Yo, what's up? Do you think it's possible for Mike Cater to make a deal with Matter without telling John? Nader without telling John? I was just asking, trying to pick his brain because he was telling me about Zahi and Mike Cater meeting. So anyway, he goes, you have time to talk about the opening. Now, about the grand opening that he said. I'll be in Florida from November 4th to the 11th. I said, give me 10 minutes. I'll give you a call. I said, okay. So then he goes, my day is crazy. You have the time to come by the city hall tomorrow so we can discuss. Right. And so he goes, so I said something, he goes, nah, bro, I'll make that happen. Speak to him later today. He's talking about the mayor. Sounds good. We will bring City TV and run it on the channel. So he's really hyping this thing up, right? This is the setup. This is the setup, folks. He's really hyping things up. We will bring City TV and run it on the channel. It will be a good, positive thing. Don't forget to file that sign permit. I said, yep, I've got it. We were already doing it. We were waiting for the C of O. So we could do that. Send it in so this guy doesn't look to break nuts. LOL. I'll get back to that. So then I tell him the time that would be great because he calls me back and he says, hey, what about this time? And I said, you know what? Let's do it around 3:30, 4-ish, 4:30, because we'll have our after school program kids there and we'll have parents that may be coming in and out, picking up, dropping off kids, right? That'd be perfect if they could see that, the mayor know that, that'd be great. Plus my wife would be there because she would be at work before, 4 o'clock. She doesn't get there actually till 4. Actually, I said around 4:30. He said, all right, cool. Yeah, we could do it. Perfect. And so then they end up calling to cancel the grand opening, but they say, we have to cancel it because the mayor, after we set it all up, got my wife all excited. They said, because the mayor has a state affair, a state event. That was a Friday. Then on Sunday, on Monday, they call back and they don't reschedule. Right? But then they end up going to Roosevelt that morning. It wasn't a state event, and he didn't go anywhere outside of Yonkers into the state. All he did was go to Roosevelt. That was the day he had brought Ruros in there. My wife didn't feel comfortable with him being in the building. And I was like, why is this guy in the building? But what he did do, Vinny Spano, was he worked along with Yonkers voice Ruros and Brian Harrod, once they got that video, to put out this false narrative that I had beat up a woman, which I didn't beat anybody up at any time, but that I had beat up a woman on November 17th. By November 18th, the Friday, I had CPS at my business around the time I told him would be perfect to do the grand opening. So that way the family and the people and the kids would be there when CPS showed up. And then they started having people prank call my daycare center and my office at the same time, which was kind of good because it showed them that people were attacking us, that this was some, terrorizing thing that they were doing to us. That's the same day that I also got an email from a person I've never got an email from before, didn't know, but was tied to that daycare center that was opening up down the street from me and the child place thing, whatever they're doing on North Broadway, about their grand opening. Then that Saturday, she emailed me again, Kenyatta Connor, tied to Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, the city council president, and Tasha Diaz, who was at those grand openings, messages me and says, hey, did you get the emails? So you see the setup? They sent CPS at that time. He knew the time. Then they're going to take jabs at me with sending those emails for their grand opening because I had said something to Vinny about it. I said, yo, Vinny, they're opening up this daycare center. How did they get everything all going in less than a year? And it's taking me 2 years, and they don't even got the shit that I got that I had to put up. How is that possible? And they're doing a grand opening. Oh, I don't know anything about that daycare center. I don't know. Yeah, you do. City council president has worked with them and their organization to do events with Macy, Municipal Housing Authority. So it was a setup. It was all an attack. And they thought that they was funny and that they were going to get me to stop and that would be it. They're going to ruin this guy's business. Going to get him to go away, destroy him. But it's not going to happen that way. It's not going to happen that way. We're going to go to war, Vinny, and we're going to go back and forth. But I got the truth on my side, Vinster. That's the difference between you and I got God on my side. Because he doesn't like that devil shit that you've been doing, me and other people here in the city of Yonkers. Horrible that you would do that to people's families, to their wives, their children, and their business. You got an issue with me and my podcast? Cool. Keep it to me and my podcast. But why send CPS, the Child Care Council of Westchester, create that false lie with Ruros and put that video out? And it's really my wife that's taking the brunt of it, not me. And that's why she's not going to say, we need to stop. That's why she is fully supporting me, Mr. Ruros. You don't know anything about that. Are you married? Are you? How long have you been married? Was this before or after you pled guilty to sexual misconduct with a minor? Does she know about the child pornography you had in your computer in 2018? And what about the impersonating a police officer, Ruros? How do you get away with that? Flashing a Yonkers police plaque at people like he's some kind of cop, double parking and blocking a Beeline bus, making the woman wait like 10 minutes before coming back out and moving. She called the cops. She took a picture of him, but he was gone by the time the cops got there, and she showed the pictures to the cops, and they recognized him right away as Ruros. They said, that's Rudy Ben Rose, the Yonkers voice. And then the man has a nerve to go and make a complaint over at Sawmill at the Beeline busting about the lady. He wanted to make a complaint about her. So then when he gets there, he flashes a Yonkers police plaque at the security guard who wouldn't let him in to make a complaint to her supervisor. this loser. And still he talks about me and others and has yet to produce any documentation to support what he has said, completely lying, but it's on the behalf of these elected officials, 1,000%. That is the reason why they are focusing on me. Brian Harrod, focusing on me. Why did Ruro start it in the first place? I never even knew the guy, really. He did it for them. He said, Freddie, they want me to write stuff about you to attack your business. And they've been doing that ever since. And Vinny Spano is the culprit, one of them. So what else he's got here? See if I find anything else interesting. The Mike Cater investigation isn't handled by Liam. It's an outside counsel that is doing that. You see, and that's another issue, folks, because that investigation is still ongoing, but it's cost the city taxpayers so much money. I hear $600,000. And it's a bogus investigation into Mike Cater. It's simply to keep him out of the mayor's race next year. That's the only reason they got this investigation. That's the only reason. If it were truly a quid pro quo investigation, they would also be investigating John Rubo, Tasha Diaz, Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, my opinion, would be investigated. But they're not. They're simply investigating Mike Cater. I go, but the Inspector General's office could call it off if he wanted to, right? But you and then he goes, but you should do it and see what the chatter is after. So he's talking about me saying something. He wanted me to say something on my podcast. So he's ignoring that comment. You see that? And I go, I am. And I just kept it moving. Then he goes, I guess he could, but that would look terrible. LOL. There's a reason he never produced anything to this day to defend himself. It's as simple as canceled checks. Bro, all these dudes are, how was that? He's calling you cheap, John. John, are you out there? He goes, I know John a long time. I actually really like him, but he's cheap as the day is long. He's not using his own money for that stuff ever. Yeah, they hugged. I heard about that. You could be right about that, and it could be just him trying to stir the pot. Those dudes were too close to stay mad forever. Mike didn't piss without asking Z. Zahi Jeris. Those dudes were too close. Man, someone told me that Mike Cater's getting his seat back as city council president would be vindication for him. Could there be a plan to get Nader in as mayor and then Nate and Cater back in as city council president for that vindication, and then down the road Mike Cater becomes mayor? If Lakeisha is judge, yeah, I hear that she is going to take Velasquez's spot, right? So we were having, we're talking about different things here. Listen to this. If Lakeisha is judge, Vinny says that question mark. I say, yeah, I hear that she is going to take Velasquez's spot, and I'm talking about Elena Goldberg Velasquez. And he says, I don't think so. I think Bessie will get that. Alexandria Bessie. I hear that she was married to and has a child with Jamal Ibrahim, the individual that was arrested with 100 grams of cocaine. Alexandria Bessie is the woman that Carmen Gomez Goldberg has been introducing to a lot of people and has recently gotten a job with the city. I believe she lives in Rockland County. She's the next, Elena Gomez or Elena Velasquez. What is Vinny talking about? I don't think so. I don't think Lakeisha's going to become judge. I think Bessie will get that. And whatever happened to her baby daddy's cocaine charge, 100 grams of cocaine, disappeared. The charge disappeared. He also got a job with DPW. He recently threw a fundraiser for the mayor along with Akeem Jamal, the guy that had the DUI. Isn't that interesting? Do you see all the connections here? Isn't that interesting, folks? So Lakeisha, are they going to make you a judge, or are they going to make you wait longer? Because, people are blowing up your spot, but you kind of blew up your own spot by even mentioning it that day at the city council when you told everyone off because you are the CCP from CPG. And I guess that's what you do. And remember this comment, Vinny Spano, CCP from CPG? Are you going to tell him how you feel after hearing this? Because it's true. This is Vinny Spano, Lakeisha. He says the CCP is such a blowjob position and waste of taxpayer dollars. And I said, but for someone like Tasha Diaz, it would mean the world. He says, true. I say, could it be that the Caters, Nader, and Z are working together? He says, no doubt. That's def possible. One thing about Arabs, they fight, but they always come back together. Is that true? No doubt. And so what I was talking about there was Zahi Jeris had made a comment while we were out once. He and I, along with Vinny Spano, he was there as well. He goes, he would love to see Tasha Diaz become the city council president. Basically, that means that's what I'm going to be doing. That's my move, possibly, if we don't get her out and replace her with possibly London Reyes. I don't know. Possibly. So that's why I asked him that. That's why I said that. I said for someone like Tasha Diaz, it would mean the world. I mean, look what she did to become majority leader, in my opinion. She totally killed the housing ordinance. I got a late invite on that myself. It was good. I went to Shanae event first and walked down to Zupa. Remember, Zupa is the place that everybody, that's where they go. It's where they do their thing. Getting back to let's get political. Oh, man, it was all about let's get political. It's someone tied to Z, no doubt. That's obvious. You hear that? That Z is Zahi Jeris. So he's saying let's get political. Is someone tied to Z, no doubt. That's obvious. And only they go after me after I attempt to help you in some way, shape, or form. Can you bait them? Is that true? Is that true? Let's get political. Are you Zahi Jeris? I mean, he made it seem like Zahi Jeris was jealous of the fact that he and I had this relationship now. LOL, laughing my ass off. This is all Vinny. Did you see a cousin yesterday that said, why are you going after my peoples, the Spano? And you said, nah, the Spanos love me. LOL. This is a true story? Question mark. LOL. Anthony shouldn't be calling you out on anything. You treat that dude good and give him a platform. This is when Anthony, was upset about, we since moved past that. Good morning. The deputy mayor brought the C of O down to me. Do you need this or you have? And that's when he, was giving me my C of O. They brought it right to him, right? I got special service there. And actually would go pick it up from his office just to go and have a little chat with him. And he goes, why are you treating me like a wet food stamp, bro? At least respond, And I get busy, folks. So don't take it personal. You see, it's everybody. I do actually, work. No, it's not that. I was on the phone with Bank of America trying to get this check cleared. I was concerned that they was concerned it was a fraudulent check. It was a pain in the ass. Then I didn't put nothing on there, right? That's important, folks. Okay. Check for property. I said, okay, I should just take that off anyway. When it rains, it pours, I said, because I was having an issue with a check. They size of the amount of the check and stuff like that. And I was trying to get that done. And I said, when it rains, it pours. So he goes, this will make you feel better. And he shows me my C of O. Right. And again, this is what they do. They like to string you along, have leverage on you, give you just enough to keep you, right where they need you so they can utilize you, manipulate you, influence you. And he talks about some stuff here. We're doing some work. Let me see. I don't know. I don't know him well. I don't know him to say hi, but I don't think he's carrying any hate around with him for any reason. Wait, my nephew just pinpointed with private account. Damn it. My nephew just pinpointed where these were when they got them, and it's a private account, which means whoever's a friend. So they were trying to find, let's get political. Yo, I don't think the exposed YK page is Z, but it's someone close to him. Who? Is it Brandon? I'm not 100% sure yet. He had told me it was Brandon Nider. He was saying the page was Brandon Nider, But you're right. Fredo doesn't go after the Spanos, and that was that Fredo Vasquez page that they created. These people create a bunch of page, and it probably was all him and these guys, and he's just playing this game. So here he goes. So let's get political. Is a big Tasha, Z, and Nader fan. This can't be too hard to figure out. I didn't watch Nader. I'll watch it later when I have time. And then I just sent him a screenshot of that Fredo Vasquez post. Yo, that's so funny, your response. Someone told me that Z likes calling people Fredo as a way to insult him. All that hate, these cowards that do these BS pages, nobody is a man anymore. It's not the Caters or me, guaranteed, unless Jeffrey did something to me crazy, which he has not. I would never have mentioned it. And I'm talking about the fact that Vinny had told me that Jeffrey Sage was actually extorted for $10,000. Apparently, he was on one of those sex webcam sites, and he was masturbating, and somebody had a screen recording of it, and then reached out to him and said, "Hey, if you don't give me this, you don't give me $10,000, I'm going to share this online of you, wanking off, you wankster, you wanker." They said in England, what a wanker. Right, so this is what Vinny Spano's telling me about Jeffrey Sage. You got extorted for $10,000 because there was a video of him, masturbating, and he didn't want that to come out. Jeffrey, I didn't say it. It was Vinny Spano. It was your crew. Again, it was your crew. This is what I mean, folks. These people are snakes. They turn on each other. Bro, I'm so pissed off about it. They continue to hang the goalpost in the middle of the game. It's not just you. It's effing ridiculous. I told my brother that he needs to look at it. He said he would this week. I mean, what the F? You are open. I get a business here and investing here. It seems to me that you have done all asked of you here by the building department. Thank you. Thank you. So why was I having issues? Even the mayor's brother's saying everything. He's even frustrated by the fact that I can't get this C of O. This was before I got the C of O. These text messages are not in order. You see that? I don't know, Vinny. I don't know why it's such a hard time. This is crazy. You tell me, but it's costing me a lot of money, and it has. Then he goes, wouldn't you love to just post up and knock one of these peas of a woman's private out cold, snoring? I fantasize about it. So I'm the violent guy, right? I'm the crazy, mentally unstable guy. Yet I think if you put me up with these people, I probably am the most sane. I mean, look at what Tasha Diaz was doing. Look at the council. I mean, John Rubo was calling a woman a scammer on Yonkers Voice Live once, and he's done other things. Tasha Diaz said she was going to F him up. She's called constituents beggars. She called Corazon Pineda Isaac a broke B. But I'm the crazy, unstable, aggressive one. And Vinny Spano fantasizes about knocking people out cold. The mayor's brother. That's dangerous, especially when you're under the influence. It's dangerous. And he asked me when my birthday is, and he look at this. It's not like this is like some love connection, right? What's your B-day? I put tonight. Question mark. Then I told April 1st. April Fool's, yeah, okay. I changed my identity so you can't find any information on me. And he go, Aries? I go, yeah. He goes, I'm a Pisces. I do well with the Aries. Okay, we're not dating here, buddy. I got a wife. It's like my cousin's wife was blowing kisses at me. I mean, geez, I didn't know I was that handsome. Ah. Don't forget to get me something for your wife's cheer. So again, he's always talking like he's going to get something done. He doesn't do anything, right? I talked to him about my wife's cheerleading squad. I showed them, and Ash, Coach Ash, right? Well, they're not doing it so good. And so I said, listen, they need this, that, and third, man. Help out. We got to do some stuff here for the Yonkers high school sports. Let's get it going, Vinny. That's my whole reasoning for wanting to build this relationship. That's what I've been asking for, if anything, is for things for our kids here in the city. Not for Freddie Vasquez. I just wanted my permit so I could do my C of O, I could do my business like everybody else. But in terms of other things, I just wanted things for our youth. That's it. I said, then he goes, all right, don't forget me to get something for your wife's cheer. I said, I'll do it right away. What I was going to say is I genuinely like you and I believe it. And believe it or not, I tell people that. And I did like the guy, but I knew what the deal was, right? I knew what the deal was. And I say to people, I like Vinny. I have a good time with him because I did. He goes, thanks, brother. I like you too. I actually tell people that too. Did he? Has he? And depending on who it is, they just look at me funny. Yeah, I know. More complaining about the building department, agreeing with me how crazy it is. See if there's anything else. See, I'm about to get off. Oh shit, it's an hour and 10 minutes. I'm up out of here. Going back to that. Text about Cal Nasser. So again, you didn't see it out really real quick. Bro, do me one favor. And I don't ask you for anything. Cal, and I go, what's that? Cal, Khalid Nasser. Please let that go. He's one of our best friends. He was head of the Special Units Investigation Unit, lieutenant. He made good money, no doubt. 5 years, he totaled $1.3+ million. He was driving the mayor around. But so does the person that is in that spot now. He's a really, really solid, good dude. He called me because everyone paints you as my best friend. And again, Lieutenant Nasser has a brother named John Nasser. And again, there's nothing personal about any individuals, but it's a pattern here in the city of Yonkers. Well, one, we're talking about friends and family and the hookups that they get, that it doesn't matter whether they're qualified or not. It doesn't matter if they have a prior violent history. Doesn't matter if they get arrested for a violent crime while employed with the city. They will get their job 5 years later when they return home. It doesn't matter, because as long as you are a good friend, as Vinny says here, one of my best friends, you will get hooked up. And this is not okay, because many people are then left out of get the possibility of getting a city job that pays well. Probably one of the highest paying, industries in this city. Working for the city, where on average, the city employee makes $179,000 according to one website, but let's say 150, 160. Where are you going to make that besides working for the city, or you may own a business? And so when they hoard these jobs, as someone has told me, half of the jobs are reserved for the mayor so he can give them out. That leaves out a lot of people in the city from getting a job, which creates an income inequality that exists to this day, that has gotten worse. People like the cousin I was talking about, who has been wanting to get a city job but has not, doesn't have that record, doesn't have armed robbery, Hispanic, single male, father, could use that good job, has been trying, worked at other places, just doesn't make enough. But he can't, because they have these positions going to their friends who don't really deserve them many times, like the Mr. John D'Onofrio, fireman who was fired, who had a criminal record, but yet and still he was hired as a fireman and committed another crime. Attempted child, sex with a child. He attempted to he was luring kids, soliciting children for sex. And then we have these issues where city employees kill kids driving drunk, and other crimes, armed robberies, causing a liability for the city of Yonkers and the taxpayers, because they are a part of the friends and family network hookup, and that's not okay. And so people then who can't get this hookup are desperate to get the jobs, and they're willing to pay thousands of dollars. And so these individuals not only get the jobs, they're lucky enough to get the jobs, They then sell the jobs. They sell the jobs. $8,000. You want a job? $8,000, $10,000, $20,000. So, and people are willing to pay it. So again, city council members, it's not about the cost of the exam for the job. People will pay $100 if, no problem. They're paying $10,000, right? It's about getting the job. Will they get the job? People are tired of wasting their time and money going and taking a test, and they don't get called. So what's the point? But individuals who have criminal records, like the one I'm going to show you now, can get a job because their brother is best friends with the administration. Their brother can get a sweet job driving the mayor around. Imagine what he has seen in his time as the mayor's driver. That's just it. They can control people with records in their debt forever. Yes, and this is why I am on high alert now. So when Rue Rose tries to say I am speeding recklessly because I'm trying to, get away from a car that appears to be following me, I'm on high alert. And now he says he has another video of me in my car driving, and he says that he can see my daughter in the car that doesn't have a seatbelt, which my windows are tinted. And I got a toddler in the car. I don't have a toddler. So now someone's videotaping me and following me with my kids in my car. This guy's putting me in real danger. And he's putting other people in danger. And he's putting the people that are following me in danger. I'll be quite honest. Yonkers police, you guys listen because you've called me a couple times, maybe 3 times, on things that I've mentioned on my podcast. So you guys listen. And do you hear what I'm saying? This is a pedophile, a guy that you guys don't like. A danger to the community, yet is allowed to run around with a camera, posing a threat. You got to see the way he bites his nails. That's like total nasty pedophile behavior. I don't know why. You got to see the way he does it. Guy's a real weirdo. And his son has obvious issues as well. I mean, you're beating up firemen at bars, allegedly stabbing them. It's allegedly taking tasers to take you down and arrest you. Now he's on desk duty, and that's why he's willing to do these disgusting things. He wants to save his son. The man is trash. And so he's posing a danger. And when the city hires individuals with, past like this, that poses a danger to people who speak out against the administration, right? Because these guys will probably do anything to keep their job or get a job. Let me go do something to this guy. That's the danger. FBI Assistant Director in Charge, William F. Sweeney Jr. said, as we allege robberies and burglaries were the profit-making ways of the 10 members of a loosely organized criminal charge group today, sometimes armed, sometimes not. This crew varied their targets from commercial establishments, businesses, to drug dealers. Getting criminal groups off our street is the mission of the Westchester County Safe Street Task Force, and I'm proud to say today's arrest meets that mission. I commend the FBI agents and the task force detectives and officers on their hard work and collaboration in bringing this investigation towards prosecution. According to the allegations in the indictment and other publicly filed documents, from at least 2012 to in or about December 2016, John Nasser, aka Mush, aka Big Johnny, and I've also heard him be called Fat Johnny, and blah, 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 were members of a loosely organized criminal crew based primarily in Westchester County, New York. The crew. Members of the crew worked together to enrich themselves and their fellow crew members through thefts, burglaries, and robberies, both armed and unarmed. From 2015 to 2016, members of the crew burglarized over 50 commercial establishments in Westchester, Rockland, Putnam, Dutchess, and Fairfield, Connecticut, or Fairfield counties, I should say, right? Or CT County. With respect to robberies, members of the crew targeted both commercial establishments and drug dealers. Additionally, members of the crew worked together to sell drugs, including drugs stolen from drug dealers during robberies and other thefts, and shared in the profit from those sales. That was in 2016. NASA was making $80,000 for the city of Yonkers in 2016. Charged with Hobbs Act robbery, firearms offense, 20 years to life he was facing. And here the Nasser, Khalid Nasser, the lieutenant, $192,670.07 in 2021. Wow, 192. John Nasser, automotive mechanic, DPW, $75,000. This was after his release. Now, is that fair? That's not okay. And it's not personal. I have to connect the dots here. This is why we must vote for a change. You want a job? Do you want a job for your son, your daughter here in the city of Yonkers? You have to come out and vote next year, and you have to vote for change. They're not going to give you a job. They don't know you. What'd you do for them? Did you write a check? Did you knock on some doors? During and in relation to the robbery conspiracy charge in count 1, court 4 charges, Blank and Nassau with using, carrying, and brandishing firearms during and in relation to the robbery charge in count 2. Count 5 charges so-and-so with transporting over 25,000 in stolen goods across state lines in connection with commercial robberies in Connecticut, committed carjackings. So again, Vinny Spano does not want me to discuss his good friend, Lieutenant Cal Nasser. Please let that go. He's one of our best friends. He was head of the Special Investigations Unit, lieutenant. He made good money, no doubt, but so does the person that is in that spot now. His wife is really sick with cancer. He has small kids, and he's really, really solid, good dude. He called me because everyone paints you as my best friend. Vinny, I was hoping we could have been friends and done amazing things for the city of Yonkers, especially for the youth. That's really what I wanted to do. You know that. You know that. Unlike other people that got connections in the city council, pulling shit for fake businesses, operating with partial certificates. Ooh, F that Tasha Diaz. She is a flip-flopper. She told me she ain't no cloud like that, then went to go host his grand opening. F out of here. Let's get it popping. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics. That's right. That is so funny, yo. That's crazy.
Let's get it popping. Let's get it popping.
I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Thank you for watching, folks. Wow, it's been almost an hour and a half. It's a lot of people that claim they solid till you put their ass to the heat and then you see who's solid. That's right. That is absolutely right. No one cheaper than the Spanos. Is that true? Yeah. Always around the holidays when people are busy. Yonkers City Council gave themselves raises again in December in 2015. Politicians are the only people I know who set the terms of their own employment and get away with it. They set the limits on their term limits, and they set their salaries. They vote on raises. It's just not okay. We need honest people in there. We do not have honest people with integrity in office here in the city of Yonkers, and it's just unfortunate. But we have an opportunity coming next year to change that. It is absolutely insane, Jose. Hypocrites, absolutely. It is immoral. These people have no faces. They don't? That's just it. They can control those people. That's right. They control those people, so when they have records or, people that are in financial situations, they can control them, right? They're easier to manipulate. They'll get them to do what they want. So it's very important that I show you this information. I have not yet to release all the text messages, but folks, I want you to know exactly who these people are. I want you to see the connections. I want you to see what's going on here. I want you to see the corruption. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics. Freddie wins. That's right. I'm very into myself. I'm full of myself, right, Miss Vasquez? Freddie. Am I lying about that, Miss Vasquez? Fatality. Where are you at tonight? They shut you down. You was on fire the other night, girl.
Freddie
Cursing at me and all that. That's rude. Why you cursing at me? Then you were blowing kisses at me. My cousin's wife blowing kisses at me.
Freddie wins.
That's unbelievable, man. What's going on? What's going on with these folks out here? What's going on? They have this untouchable, invincible attitude. It's not about color, it's about class. They look at everybody else that's not a part of this elite circle as you are beneath us. We are better than you. Really, but your guys can't even pass supervisor tests.
Freddie wins.
You didn't get there on your own merit.
Fatality.
And in the real world, when you end up there after next year's election, we'll see how great and wonderful you all really are.
Freddie wins.
I'm Freddie Vasquez.
Fatality.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Cumpleaños. Adios, amigos. Adios. Enjoy your coqui. Coqui? Anyone drinking coqui? Getting drunk off the coqui. Getting drunk off the coqui.
You're watching Basement Politics with
Tell him,
my
baby
dad,
girl.
Freddie Vasquez.
Tell him, baby girl.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez.
They're so excited about Christmas. They can't wait. Gonna bake cookies for Santa.
Thank you for watching Basement Politics with my husband, Freddie Vasquez.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
No!
Text messages from my love. Happy holidays. Connecting the dots. Send all your information to politicwithfred@gmail.com. Politicwithfred@gmail.com. And folks, I'm working on having a guest come on. You guys will know him. I'm trying to make that connect. It's gonna be an interesting interview. It's an interesting guest. Elected official, former elected official. Wait on it. I'm trying to make it happen. Wait on it.
Freddie wins.
And anyone that wants to come on my show, you're more than welcome to. It doesn't matter who you are. Tasha Diaz, you're more than welcome to. Vinny Spano, you're more than welcome to. The mayor, Leah McLaughlin, everyone, more than welcome to come on my show and discuss any issues you may have.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
No!
Invitation